Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we finished up another part of the Dark Eldar campaign and we got a new part because it never ends. And this time we get to talk to the Rotwang governor. Oh man, that's a hell of a name to get stuck with. The governor of Rotwang.
Inquisitorial clearance codes and binary rosette, ready for transmission.
If there is one thing I've learned from my previous encounters, if you suspect any Dark Eldar presence, it is better to arrive unannounced.
Request noted. Monitoring of the adjacent segment of the Void in progress. Traffic around the Void station is scarce. Vox channels are silent.
Considering that this orbital palace is the seat of the governor, it's more than suspicious. Going straight to the governor's private chambers, I have no time for blind meddlings.
I just looked at the title of this mission, The Mysteries of Rotwang. There's only two mysteries. One, how you got it, and two, can you prevent it or curb it before it's too late.
Inquisitor, what an honor to have you here.
So I was thinking, and something came to my mind. Whatever happened to, like, the transparent plastic in stuff? Like, depending on your age, you'll remember this or not, the old Mac computers that had the transparent plastic on them, or the N64s that'd be like transparent purple plastic. Because I just thought about that and I was like, damn, I miss that stuff. That was some of the greatest, like, casing ever. And I don't get why consoles don't go for that. I mean, I do, because they're trying to be all like, we're for mature people. I'm a grown adult and I still want that. If I could get damn near everything I own that's plastic being translucent plastic, I would absolutely have that. Because the inquisitive side of me is like, ooh, I want to know what's inside the thing I bought. I would like to see the innards of my controller. Granted, I know what they look like. I have disassembled my controllers for maintenance before. But I don't care. I would still like to see. But just, I want that. That was always a fun thing. Or, if you remember back for the 360 early on, because I stopped doing it pretty quick, the front plates that you could swap out. I remember there was a Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball front plate you could get. That stuff would have been a lot cooler if it was a little bit cheaper. Because I want to say it was like 40 or 50 bucks, I think. It was not cheap for just a front plate that you pop on and pop off. If it was like 20, I think people would have been a lot more willing to do it. And honestly, cases like that should be something you can easily remove. Because people would, if it's cheap enough, do customization. And then you can kind of have the cottage industry of, like, hydro dipping. Because people do that for controllers already. But if it's a lot easier to replace the casings, I think you'd see more of it. And I just think it's cool. Oh. I can't even go back that way. Because as I say, there's that other hallway, but too late. It's whatever. I think you can talk to... You might be able to get back and talk to those guys, but I don't care. Oh, one translucent thing I'll always remember, besides the obvious, like, Game Boy Colors and then 64s, was... I always wanted to get it, but by the time I knew about it, it was already expensive. It was the Stars Edition, so Resident Evil Stars Edition Sega Dreamcast. It was a translucent dark blue with the Stars logo on the, like, lifting up part of the disc tray. It was the coolest thing ever, because I remember a buddy of mine would get Tips and Tricks magazine. Everything I'm saying just makes me sound old, but they had one issue talked about, like, gaming things that recently sold at auction. And this is before you had numbnuts trying to sell a in-package sealed Legend of Zelda copy for $35,000. But this was like, hey, here's the Stars Edition Dreamcast, sold for like, I think, $2,000. It was really cool.
Affirmative. Scramblers currently in operation
Or
throughout the entire complex. Evacuation is impossible. Proceed to the hangar.
I remember some of the stuff like,
Presence has been multiplied
I think Japan had a yellow PlayStation 2. There were so many variants of, like, the PlayStation 2, it's not even funny. Oh, I saw an article, I had to laugh at this. They're like, PS4, PS5, which system should you buy? And I'm thinking, probably the PS5. Because they're gonna stop supporting the PS4 at some point. Like, Dead Island. As of recording, if you have a PS4, but not a PS4 Pro, so if you have a Gen 8 console, this also applies to Xbox, but not a Gen 8 Plus, which is the Pro or whatever the Xbox version is, you can't host a multiplayer session for Dead Island 2. You can join them, but you can't host them. The devs are looking to fix it, but you know, when you have stuff like that happening, maybe just buy the current gen thing. And I remember seeing you could buy PS4 Pros at GameStop, I think, like refurbs for $250. And part of me is like, on one hand, it's cool, because then you could get like the Star Wars Battlefront 2 edition, or the Spider-Man, or all the other things, because there's the collector side of like, hey, you can get these. But on the other hand, you're paying like half the price of a new gen for last gen. And it's not like the PS3 360 era, where I guess that's 7th gen at this point, but it's not like that gen where, realistically, you could have bought one of those at the end of the system's lifespan, and you had... Let's see, system came out, what, 2005, 2006? Roughly? 8th gen came out 2013, like end of 2013, beginning of 2014. You had like 7 years worth of games. And there was a lot more of them then than last gen. So you could have bought that system and been like, oh yeah, I got a few years worth of stuff waiting for me. But PS4, 8th gen, you don't have a lot. Like, I have a number of games, and even then I'm like, you could honestly not play most of these. Not to mention a lot of the games last gen like the ones that I have, they just don't have players. Like, who's playing Black Ops 3 right now? It's stuff like that where the game's just kind of already dead. Oh, I actually need to put another point in. Cooldown reduction's not useful. Siloid combustors. Also not that, like... See, the kicker here is you only need one of these. Those are all tarantula turret. So you have to pick something for the Cataphren if you're not doing other stuff. Okay, at that point we'll just go with that. There. Now let's check this. Okay, data flux reserved 43%. So... See, I could... $64... See, I don't like it because I don't think at my current setup I can actually summon the Necromechanic turret if I run Cataphren Destroyer, Cataphren Vanguard, and a Castellan. But I don't want to give up. I mean, do I really care about the Castellan? Because I could just say screw it, swap out, get a Vanguard, and then put, like, Siloid combustors. It's an option. We'll come back to it at a different point.
The governor has been dead for a while now.
As it stands, we're doing fine.
You are entering a Dark Eldar prison camp. You must be aware that you're going to witness the true depths of depravity these creatures are capable of.
The Emperor's will I carry will illuminate my way with blazing fire.
What happens if the Lord Commissar is dead?
I will avenge him.
A Dark Eldar prison camp. It is Manzanar in space. I don't know what that was supposed to be. I didn't even skip that one. It just kinda did a thing. Man, I just had the weird... It's not a weird thought, but it's a weird thought. Part of me just randomly went, I should re-download PlanetSide 2. But the thing is, the console version is both incredibly far behind on updates and very dead. probably because it's incredibly far behind on updates. But this always happens to me every few months. I'll sit there and think to myself, I should re-download that and play it. I will play it for maybe an hour and go, oh yeah, that's why I stopped playing. Like last time, it was because I was trying to play an engineer and I used to always throw down anti-tank mines. And then I found out you could get an implant that automatically detects landmines within like 20 meters of you. So tank drivers always had that active, and they would just instantly see my mines and destroy them. And I thought, oh, so what the hell is the counter? Because you just took away my counter to tanks. I just remember that, and it bugs me so much. Because I had worked on a video I wanted to do about what needs to happen for a proper PlanetSide sequel. And one of the things was gutting the the implant system because of how horrendously broken it is. There's ones that do self-healing, there's ones that let you cloak if you stand still. There's ones, I'm guilty of using them. It's the ammo printer ones, that every so often it just gives you ammo, and it works while you're in a vehicle. The most stupidly broken things that completely remove the teamwork and class-based aspect of the game. And the devs are just like, yeah, put that in. I get it. They need money, and people with no self-control and lots of disposable income, and sometimes willing to put themselves into credit card debt, will sit there and burn $200 on what is amounting to loot boxes for the chance of powering up a mod. I get it. I don't like it. And I feel like it's one of those things where you're selling your future for a little bit of money now. Which I'm actually seeing in Pokemon Go, of all places. I don't play it that much anymore. I fired it up because I was really bored when I was on a walk. I was like, let's see how this game's been doing. And they upped the price of a bunch of items. And I was like, oh, this isn't good. And I thought to myself, I'm going to go check the Reddit. Because Reddit will either be pandering immensely and telling the devs they do no wrong, or it's going to be just absolute people grabbing pitchforks and wanting to burn the place down. And yeah, it's pitchforks and burn the place down kind of mentality. And I don't blame them. I looked at a lot of the stuff that people were complaining about. They have like an app within the game, but if you try to use it, it then goes, oh, well, you need to go download the app. So you have to then download the app and to do stuff, but it's invite only. It's a convoluted chain of just stupid decisions. And I'm just looking at it, and everybody I saw talking about it is just like, no, this is horrible. Which is disappointing, because I know they want to do a Monster Hunter version, and I'm just thinking, oh boy, they're really going to screw that up, aren't they? Which sucks, because a mobile, like, Monster Hunter game like that would be fun. But Niantic has they have one method, and by God, they will live or die by that design method. They apparently did a Harry Potter game. I knew it was coming out, didn't know it died. I was like, oh, it came out at some point? The funny part, the best and most player-friendly kind of geolocating game like that was not made by Niantic. It was, at least to my knowledge, it was a Walking Dead game. And it was actually really fun. because you had... Like, you got weapons, and there were cards that you'd combine enough cards, and then it would get stronger, and you'd have characters, and you could pick whoever. Like, I had Shiva, the tiger. And you would find missions, it's like, oh, fight a bunch of zombies. And so you'd fight them, there might be armored ones, there might be fat ones, ones that move fast, whatever. They each have vulnerabilities to different weapons. But then the character you'd pick, so in my case Shiva, they would actually join in the fight and run ahead and fight the enemies. And if the zombies got too close, then they would attack that character, potentially wounding them, and then attack you, so you'd have to kill them in time. So that was cool, and then you would build survivor camps. So it's like, oh, this is a weapon camp. So you'd bring survivors, and in exchange for turning them over, which you'd find them in missions, you'd turn them over and you would get weapon cards. So you could place these wherever, and it was a cool idea. Game eventually died. I'd stopped playing because it was winter, I'm not going outside, it's cold. But the game was fun. And then to find out that died, but then like Niantic's sitting here just continually just copy-paste arenoing everything they've done and being like, hey, we put a new skin on it, please, for the love of God, give us money. It's a bit of a bummer, but it just kind of shows none of these trends are eternal. Whether it's games like Pokemon Go, or it's battle royales, or extraction shooters, or anything. It's all, at the end of the day, a finite thing that runs its course. Sometimes you just wish it would run its course a little faster.
I'm afraid this webway gate is the only clue.
Yay, the webway!
Analysis of the war.
Alright, so that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button, it helps out the channel a lot, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.